Hey everybody, happy Monday.
Happy Monday, everyone. Glad you're here. What do we got going on today?
We're finally going to review my nano wall racks.
Now, this is something that we've gotten a lot in the comment sections. Hey, what type of fish tank rack was that? Where do you get it? This is the Amazon Basics 4-shelf unit. I will put an affiliate link down in the description below in case you are interested. I think the coolest number one thing, at least for me, can I just jump right into it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, coolest number one thing for me is the rack is $50 as of the making of this video. So for 50 bucks, you get a rack that is roughly 35 3/4 inches wide. It's only 14 inches deep, but it's also 57 inches tall. And again, you get 4 shelves. So you get basically all of that racking space for 50 bucks. And the best part about it,
It's a lot of best.
this is the best part. Best part number one is when I set up the first rack, it only took me 20 minutes to set it up.
Oh, bravo.
Opposed to if you look around the fish room, every single rack that you
yeah.
see in this fish room, I have built with the exception of one, and that's the 150 gallon that has its own stand. But all these other stands that I built took me a lot longer than 20 minutes to build.
Yeah.
And they were more expensive. Now, they're stronger stands to be sure because they're holding much larger tanks,
But for nano tanks, you don't need anything that strong.
you don't. Now, here's the other best part. When I did the second one on your wall, it took me 10 minutes to build. And another great feature, you don't need any tools. Zero,
really?
Absolutely, positively
I would like
zero
that,
tools.
because I'm pretty lazy going
Just
to get stuff.
some hands, some arms, possibly your fingers, and you're going to be able to
Some
put this
space.
rack together. Well, maybe a little bit of space, but not much. After all, it is a nano rack. So,
Yeah.
with all that being said, I've just outlaid all the wonderful features. What do you like about the rack?
Well, first of all, it's very sturdy. There's no wobbles. There's no give and take, any kind of movement that makes me nervous in the least. My second favorite thing is I would say that it just takes up very little space, both visually and physically. Nothing against your racks that you build and all the other fish keeping world DIY, and everybody in the world builds your own clunky, large,
Humongous.
just space.
Hey, I want my
It-
fish tank racks, my fish tank stands to hold a tank and be like, you can park a car on these things and it's going to be okay.
Well, good for you, but it also takes up the space of a car.
It does.
Mine does not. So the other thing that I really like about it, and I'm sure other rack systems have the same thing, but that bar, the bar that runs along every single shelf and the little zigzaggy, gives you lots of different options to hang things. You could hang, which it's not fully equipped yet, but you can hang your nets, you can hang towels, you can hang a lot of stuff off of there, or even decorations.
Now I'm going to ask you a question. Trivia question number one. How many pounds can each shelf hold?
200.
That was very close. Actually,
Really?
this fish tank rack, or this rack that
150.
we're using, is rated for 350 pounds
dang
per
it.
shelf. So the total rack could hold
lot.
up to 1,400 pounds. Now, I want to be really clear about something. I personally would never in a million years feel comfortable putting a fish tank that weighed 350 pounds on one of these shelves. I just would not do it.
I don't
So
think you could fit it on one shelf.
you probably couldn't, but if you could, I wouldn't do it. If you look at the way that we've constructed the tanks, the heaviest shelf that we have in terms of weight, the most weight that we have on a shelf is
150.
150 pounds. Yeah, we've got a couple of the 7.5s on a single shelf. So figure around 10 pounds per gallon with all the rocks and the substrate and everything. So that's about the max that we've gone on these. Could we go a little heavier? Would I feel comfortable with, like, let's say a 20 long? Possibly. But I certainly wouldn't personally go much beyond that. And I'm pretty comfortable with what we've done. So I don't recommend necessarily maxing these things out per shelf, but they have been extremely sturdy, at least for the way that we have used them. And again, I think this is good for nano-sized tanks, so you're 10 gallons and less. And the cool thing is, because it's 3 feet long, you can put more than one tank on a lot of these shelves.
Yep. And I like the top height too. It actually works out really great because you want to put my first thought was that I was going to be putting supplies up at the top. No, because it's a really good eye level. You want tanks up there, and they're so easy to get to at the top, so it's a great height.
It is a great height. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. Now, we did use all 4 shelves on each racking system. You could potentially remove one of the shelves, because if you use all 4, you're probably on average, at least for the bottom 3 shelves. The top one, of course, you have unlimited height. But for the bottom 3, I know that was deep, right? I blew her mind. The top shelf, you have unlimited height, unless you max out. Well, all right, your ceiling limits you, but point is,
figure you have the top height is the top of the unit.
I know, but you can go as tall as you want on a tank, right?
Oh, I thought you meant on the shelf, like to put your shelf.
Oh,
like
no.
No, I was like, no.
Okay, now that we're all okay. The nice thing is, yes, the top shelf, you can put taller stuff on there, but like for the other ones, if you wanted more space, you could just simply remove one of the shelves and you could put one less shelf there. Mm-hmm. If you use all of them, you've got on average about 17-ish inches per shelf, and so that makes you a little bit limited in terms of the types of tanks that you could put if you're going to use all 4. And so that's the reason why your 7.5 gallon tanks, they're about how tall? Do you remember?
That's a really good question.
I thought,
I know that I was talking to somebody like who left a message before, and I'm not the only one who uses like the stuff that's on me to measure things. If I don't have my measuring tape, which I almost always do, but my hand span is 9 inches and my phone is 6 inches. So hold on a second. I'll go
hold on 1 second. I think they were 12 inches. That's what I think.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
I would say
the 12-inch tanks fit pretty well. The 2.5s, I think they're a little bit shorter. They're somewhere around maybe that 8 to 10 inches. And so we've got that shorter shelf. I keep looking over there because that's where the tanks are.
Yeah, we're always looking over because that's where the nano wall is.
So 8 to 9 inches. So you got a little bit of space there the way that we've done it. And again, if you want a little bit taller tanks, you can use the top shelf for that. Mm-hmm. But this is a great stand. That's the point of this video. Is a lot of you have asked, what are you using? $50 stand that can hold all your nano tanks. Looks good. It's not going to rust just based on all the high-fiving.
No, I have a question.
Oh, I thought we were high-fiving. I was like, that's weird. I've never done that in camera before.
No.
Yes.
Does it come in other colors?
Yes, it does. In
Really?
fact, it comes not only in black, but you can get it in chrome. So if you want to really bling out your fish room and chrome it out, you could do that as well. And that led to my statement that I was going to make before you interrupted me, and that was you can actually, because they're painted and they're coated, they're really not going to rust all that soon or anything like that. So that's pretty cool. And the last thing that I like is, if you notice, we have those long 72-inch beamswork lights. How did we fasten them? We used the paint or not
wire. We used craft wire.
Craft wire. We just kind of.
I couldn't find the paddle wire.
Yeah.
So it's dark purple craft wire.
So you just take the craft wire and you can string it up on the shelf on top of it, and it works out really well. All right. Now, one other thing that you might want to think about. I know this is going to be a little bit of a pain. But if you're going to be putting fish tanks on this racking system, you might want to lay down a little piece of plywood. Like a 3/8 inch piece of plywood will be plenty. If you live in an apartment or you don't have tools, or you're like, I don't think I can handle that, you can go to any home improvement store. A lot of them, like the Home Depots and the Lowe's of the world, they'll cut it for you and just measure it out. It's roughly like 35. You could probably cut it 35.5 by 14 and just place those down first. We painted ours black so they blended right in. And that will be really helpful for your tanks.
Plus, I find it very helpful to actually go to your craft store and get sheets of foam, get the black foam, and cut it to fit underneath your tanks, because you're going to have a whole lot better time if you're going to need to take that tank up. So otherwise, water will invariably drip.
Good point.
And it's kind of hard when you want to lift the tank up. It'll actually stick. So save yourself some time. Cut the foam too.
So that was the racks that we are using for our nano wall and all that we love about them. Hope you enjoyed the video.
Have a good week.
And we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.